Maya Rodriguez opened her eyes slowly. Her head hurt badly and everything around her looked strange. She was lying on something hard and cold. When she tried to move, she felt dizzy and weak. The room she was in had walls that looked like crystal. They glowed with a soft blue light that made everything look unreal. Maya pushed herself up and sat against one wall. She remembered being in her fighter ship during a battle with aliens near the border. Then there had been a bright flash and nothing more. Now she was somewhere else entirely. The air smelled different here. It was clean but had a metallic taste that made her nose wrinkle. She looked down at herself and saw that someone had taken away her uniform. Instead, she wore a simple gray outfit that felt rough against her skin. A sound made her look up. Part of the crystal wall was becoming clear like a window. On the other side stood the biggest alien she had ever seen. It was nearly 8 feet tall and covered in dark scales that looked like polished stone. Its eyes were yellow with black lines down the middle like a snake's eyes. The creature made clicking sounds, and then Maya heard words in her own language. The voice came from a small device on its chest. "The human female is awake," the alien said. Its voice was deep and had a strange accent. "I am Commander Vexthul of the Catherian Empire. You are now our prisoner." Maya stood up slowly. Her legs felt shaky, but she managed to stay upright. "Where am I?" she asked. "You are on board my ship," Vexthul replied. "We found you floating in space after your little craft was destroyed. You should be grateful we saved your life." "Saved my life?" Maya felt anger rising in her chest. "You attacked my ship." The alien made a sound that might have been laughter. It sounded like stones grinding together. "Your ship entered our territory. We defended what is ours. But do not worry, human. You will not be executed." Maya waited for him to continue. She had a feeling she would not like what came next. "You will have the honor of fighting in the grand arena on Kythera Prime," Vexthul said. "It is where the greatest warriors in the galaxy prove their strength. Many beings would kill for such a chance." "I don't want that chance," Maya said firmly. Vexthul clicked again. "What you want does not matter. You are property of the Catherian Empire now. You will fight for our entertainment." Maya felt cold inside. She had heard stories about alien gladiator arenas. Most fighters who entered never came out alive. "What if I refuse?" "Then you will die anyway," the commander said. "But it will be slow and painful instead of quick and honorable. The choice is yours." Maya said nothing. She knew there was no real choice here. Vexthul studied her through the crystal wall. "You are smaller than I expected for a human warrior. Your species is new to us, but our intelligence reports say you are weak. You depend too much on your primitive weapons." "We're not as weak as you think," Maya said. This made Vexthul click with amusement. "We shall see. In the arena you will be given a standard weapon, but when you face a real warrior, your soft human flesh will tear easily." Maya looked around her prison cell again. The walls were smooth with no breaks or seams she could see. There was no door that she could find. "How long until we reach this arena planet?" 3 of your Earth days," Vexthul answered. "Use the time to prepare yourself for death. Or perhaps, if you are very lucky, you will provide enough entertainment to live a few minutes longer than expected." The wall became solid crystal again, cutting off Maya's view of the commander. She was alone. Maya sat back down and thought about her situation. The Catherians had captured her, and they planned to make her fight in their arena for sport. She was outnumbered, outgunned, and trapped on an alien ship with no way to escape. But Maya had not survived 3 years in the Earth Defense Corps by giving up when things looked bad. She started to think like a soldier instead of a prisoner. First, she needed to learn everything she could about her captors. From her brief talk with Vexthul, she could tell that the Catherians thought humans were weak and helpless without weapons. That might be useful. Second, she needed to stay in fighting shape. Maya began doing exercises in her small cell. Push-ups, sit-ups, stretches. She had to keep her body ready for whatever came next. Third, she needed to watch and learn. Over the Next 3 days, different aliens brought her food and water. Some were Cytherians like Vexthol, but others were different species. Maya guessed they were servants or slaves. The food was strange but not terrible. It looked like gray blocks that tasted like meat and vegetables mixed together. The water was clean and had no strange taste. Maya noticed that all the aliens acted the same way around her. They looked at her like she was some kind of curious animal that might be interesting to watch but was not dangerous. Even the smaller, weaker-looking aliens did not seem afraid of her. This told Maya something important. The Cytherians and their allies had never fought humans before. They did not know what humans could really do in combat. On the second day, Maya heard other voices from cells near hers. She discovered she was not the only prisoner. There were warriors from several different species all being taken to the arena. Some had been prisoners for months. A Zentorian blade master in the cell next to hers told her through the walls that the arena was a place where captured warriors fought for the entertainment of rich Cytherians. Most fighters died in their first match. A few survived long enough to become famous before they too were killed. The crowds love to see new species fight, the Zentorian said. They will bet on how quickly you die. Humans are unknown. So many. We'll be curious to see what you can do. What's the longest anyone has survived? Maya asked. I have won 12 matches, the Zentorian replied. But I grow tired, and my blade skills are not what they once were. Soon, I too will fall. Maya felt sorry for the alien warrior, but she also felt something else. Determination. She was not going to become entertainment for alien crowds. She was going to find a way to turn this situation to her advantage. When the ship finally reached Kythera Prime, Maya was ready. The transport ship that carried Maya from the prison ship to the planet's surface was cramped and dark. She sat chained between two other prisoners who would also fight in the arena today. One was a tall, blue-skinned warrior with 4 arms. The other looked like a giant insect with razor-sharp claws. None of them spoke during the ride. Maya could feel the fear coming from the other prisoners. They knew what waited for them. When the transport doors opened, Maya's first sight of the grand arena took her breath away. It was enormous. The building rose up like a mountain made of stone and metal. Thousands of aliens streamed through the entrances, all excited to see blood spilled for their entertainment. Cytherian guards pushed the prisoners through a series of tunnels under the arena. The walls here were rough stone, and the air was hot and humid. Maya could hear the roar of the crowd above them even through all that rock. They were taken to a large room filled with weapons and armor. An alien that looked like a walking tree with too many eyes pointed at different items as it spoke. Each fighter gets basic arena gear, it said in a voice like wind through leaves. Light armor, one weapon of your choice. Choose wisely. Your life depends on it. Maya looked at the weapons available. There were energy rifles, plasma cannons, beam swords, explosive launchers, and many other things she did not recognize. All of them looked far more advanced than human weapons. She picked up a plasma rifle that felt comfortable in her hands. It was lighter than she expected but seemed well built. The alien keeper showed her how to check the power level and adjust the settings. This weapon has enough energy for about 50 shots, the creature explained. After that, you must fight, with whatever else you can find or die. Maya nodded and selected light armor that fit her human body. The other prisoners made their own choices. Some picked heavy armor and big weapons. Others chose lighter gear that would let them move faster. While she prepared, Maya listened to the other fighters talk. Most of them had fought in arenas before. They shared stories about different opponents and fighting styles. Maya learned that arena combat was not just about strength or speed. It was also about giving the crowd a good show. The crowd wants to see drama, said a scarred warrior who looked like a walking lizard. If you make them excited, they might let you live even if you lose, but if you bore them, they will demand your death no matter what. What about humans? Maya asked. Have any of my species fought here before? The lizard warrior shook his head. You are the first. No one knows what to expect from your kind. That could work for you or against you. A guard came to get Maya sooner than she expected. As she was led through more tunnels toward the arena floor, she could hear an announcer's voice booming above the crowd noise. Citizens of the Empire, the voice called. Today we have a special treat. For the first time in our great arena, we will see a human warrior fight for her life. The crowd roared with excitement. Maya had never heard so many alien voices cheering. At once, it sounded like a thunderstorm that never ended. This human female was captured during a border conflict, the announcer continued. She represents a species new to our galaxy. Will she prove worthy of our attention, or will she die quickly like so many others? Maya was brought to a gate that led directly onto the arena floor. Through the bars, she could see the fighting area clearly for the first time. The arena floor was covered in sand, with rocks and metal barriers scattered around to make the fighting more interesting. The walls were high enough that no fighter could climb out, but low enough that the crowd could see everything clearly. Above the walls, thousands of aliens filled the seats. Most were Catherians, but Maya could see many other species as well. All of them were looking down at the arena with hungry eyes. The announcer's voice boomed again. Fighting for her life today, the human calls herself Maya Rodriguez. She will face our current champion, the mighty Gorlak warrior Thekmor. Another gate opened across the arena, and Maya's opponent stepped out. Thekmor was the biggest living creature Maya had ever seen. He stood nearly 10 feet tall and was covered in thick gray hide that looked like stone. He had 4 arms, each one holding a different weapon, 2 energy swords and plasma axe and a chain weapon with spikes on the end. The crowd went wild when they saw him. Thekmor raised his weapons above his head and roared. The sound was so loud it hurt Maya's ears even from across the arena. Thekmor has won 47 matches, the announcer shouted. He has never been defeated. Can this small human provide him with any challenge at all? Maya looked up at the crowd and saw aliens holding up signs with numbers on them. They were betting on how long she would last. Most of the numbers were very small. The gate in front of Maya opened with a loud grinding sound. Warriors, the announcer called. Enter the arena. Maya stepped out onto the sand. The sun was bright overhead and the crowd noise was overwhelming. She had never felt so alone in her life. Thekmor was already moving toward the center of the arena. He moved surprisingly fast for something so large. His 4 weapons glinted in the sunlight as he spun them in complex patterns. Maya walked more, slowly, taking time to study the arena layout and her opponent. She noticed that Thekmor was showing off for the crowd, making unnecessary moves with his weapons just to look impressive. That told her something useful about his fighting style. The announcer let the tension build before he finally shouted, "Let the combat begin." Thekmor immediately charged toward Maya, his weapons spinning and his mouth open in a battle roar. The crowd cheered louder than ever. Maya raised her plasma rifle and prepared to fight for her life, but in her mind, she was already thinking, several moves ahead. The aliens in the crowd expected her to be weak and helpless. She planned to use that expectation against them. The real fight was about to begin. Thekmor's charge shook the ground beneath Maya's feet. The massive Gorlak warrior moved faster than something his size should have been able to move. His 4 weapons cut through the air with deadly precision as he closed the distance between them. Maya dove to her right just as Thekmor's plasma axe slammed into the spot where she had been standing. The weapon left a glowing crater in the sand. She rolled behind one of the metal barriers scattered around the arena and quickly brought her rifle up. The crowd cheered as she fired 3 quick shots at Thekmor's center mass. The plasma bolts hit his thick hide and left dark marks, but they did not seem to hurt him much. He turned toward her new position with what might have been a smile on his alien face. "Is that all you can do, little human?" Thekmor's voice was deep and rough, like grinding stone. "My hide has stopped much stronger weapons than yours." Maya moved again as his chain weapon smashed through the barrier she had been hiding behind. Pieces of twisted metal flew everywhere. She fired more shots as she ran, aiming for his joints and the spaces between his armor plates. Some of her shots found their targets. Thekmor grunted in pain and surprise, but he kept coming after her. Maya noticed that he was bleeding from several small wounds now. Her weapon was hurting him, just not enough to stop him. The crowd was getting excited. They cheered every time Thekmor destroyed something Maya had been hiding behind. They booed when she managed to hit him with her rifle. This was the kind of show they wanted to see. Maya continued to fight in a way that looked desperate and afraid. She stumbled sometimes when she ran. She missed shots that she should have been able to make easily. She acted like a frightened animal being hunted by a predator. But while she was acting scared, Maya was really doing something much more important. She was studying Thekmor's fighting style and looking for weaknesses. The big warrior was strong and fast, but he was also proud and angry. When Maya hit him with a good shot, he would charge straight at her instead of thinking about strategy. He liked to show off his different weapons for the crowd, which meant he often used the wrong weapon for the situation. Most importantly, Maya noticed that Thekmor favored his rear left arm. When he moved, that arm was always a split second slower than the others. There was probably an old injury there that had never healed properly. After several minutes of running and shooting, Maya's rifle was getting low on energy. The display showed she had used more than half her shots. She needed to make her move soon. Thekmor cornered her against the arena wall. There was nowhere left to run. He raised all 4 weapons above his head and roared at the crowd. They roared back their approval. "Now you die, weak human," he shouted. Maya raised her rifle and fired 3 more shots at his chest. They barely slowed him down. She fired again, and this time the rifle made a different sound. The energy indicator was flashing red. Thekmor brought his weapons down in a devastating attack that would have cut Maya in half if she had not thrown herself sideways at the last second. As she rolled away, his chain weapon caught her rifle and sent it spinning through the air. The plasma rifle hit the ground hard and sparked. Maya scrambled toward it and picked it up quickly. She checked the energy level and tried to fire at Thekmor. Nothing happened. She shook the weapon and tried again. Still nothing. The rifle was dead. The crowd saw this and went completely wild. They had been waiting for this moment. The human's primitive weapon had finally failed her. Now she was helpless. Aliens in the stands jumped up and down with excitement. They waved their arms and made sounds of joy in dozens of different languages. Some threw things into the arena to show their approval. Thekmor stopped his advance and stood up straight. He was enjoying this moment too much to rush it. The crowd wanted drama, and he was going to give it to them. "Your weapon is broken, little human," he said, spinning his energy sword slowly. "What will you do now?" Maya looked at the dead rifle in her hands. She shook it again and pressed the firing button several more times. The weapon made sad clicking sounds but did not shoot. She looked around the arena as if searching for another weapon or a place to hide. But there was nothing within reach, and Thekmor was blocking her path to anywhere else. The crowd was chanting now. Maya could not understand the words, but she knew they were calling for her death. The sound was like thunder that never stopped. Maya looked up at the thousands of aliens watching her. Then she looked at Thekmor, who was taking his time approaching her. He wanted to make this last kill look good for the crowd. Finally, Maya looked down at the useless weapon in her hands one more time, and then she did something that made the entire arena explode with alien cheers. She dropped the rifle. The plasma weapon fell from her hands and landed in the sand with a soft thud. Maya stood there empty-handed, looking small and defenseless in front of the massive Gorlak warrior. The crowd went completely insane. They had never seen anything like this before. The human had given up. She was surrendering. This was better than they had hoped for. Even the arena announcers were excited. "Incredible! The human has abandoned her weapon. She appears to be surrendering to the mighty Thekmor." Some aliens in the crowd were already getting up to leave. The fight was clearly over. All that was left was the final killing blow. Thekmor himself seemed surprised by Maya's action. He had expected her to keep fighting with the broken weapon or try to run away again. Instead, she just stood there with her hands at her sides. "You surrender?" he asked, confused. Maya did not answer. She just looked at him with an expression he could not read. The crowd was chanting louder now. They wanted blood. They wanted to see the final moment when the mighty champion destroyed the weak human who had dared to challenge him. Thekmor raised his weapons again. He would make this quick and clean. The human had given up, so she deserved a warrior's death. But as he prepared to strike the final blow, Maya did something that would change everything. She smiled. Maya's smile was not the expression of someone who had given up. It was the smile of someone who had been waiting for exactly this moment. Thekmore saw the change in her face and hesitated. Something was different about the human now. The fear and desperation that had been in her eyes during the fight was gone. Instead, there was something cold and dangerous looking back at him. But the crowd was screaming for blood, and Thekmore was their champion. He pushed aside his confusion and raised his weapons to deliver the killing blow. Maya dropped into a fighting stance that no alien in the arena had ever seen before. Her body became loose and balanced, her hands positioning themselves in ways that looked strange but somehow deadly. Every line of her posture spoke of violence waiting to be unleashed. Thekmore brought his weapons down in a powerful strike that should have ended the fight instantly. Maya was not there when they arrived. She had moved to the right faster than Thekmore's eyes could follow. Before he could recover from his missed attack, she was behind him, driving her elbow into the weak point she had noticed in his rear left arm. The joint made a wet cracking sound. Thekmore roared in pain and surprise as his arm went completely numb. The energy sword he had been holding in that hand fell uselessly to the sand. The crowd's cheers turned into confused muttering. What had just happened? Thekmore spun around to face Maya, but she was already moving again. She grabbed his wrist as he turned and used his own momentum to send him stumbling toward the arena wall. His massive body crashed into the stone with enough force to shake dust loose from the ceiling. Now the crowd was silent except for scattered gasps of disbelief. The human was not just fighting back. She was winning. Maya moved like nothing the aliens had ever seen. Every motion flowed into the next like water. When Thekmore swung his remaining weapons at her, she bent and twisted around them, as if she could see the future. But she was not just dodging. Every time Thekmore attacked, Maya struck back. Her hands and feet found joints and pressure points that made the big warrior stumble and cry out in pain. She was taking him apart piece by piece. 7 seconds had passed since Maya dropped her rifle. Thekmore tried to use his size advantage. He grabbed for Maya with his good arms, trying to catch her and crush her against his chest. But Maya slipped through his grasp like smoke and drove her fist into a nerve cluster just below his right shoulder. His right arm jerked and spasmed. The plasma axe fell from nerveless fingers. The crowd was starting to make sounds of fear now, instead of excitement. This was not how arena fights were supposed to go. Champions did not lose to unarmed prisoners, especially not to small, weak humans. 10 seconds. Thekmore still had 2 working arms, but Maya had taken away his 2 best weapons. He swung his remaining energy sword in wild arcs, trying to keep her away from him. The chain weapon spun through the air dangerously close to her head. Maya ducked under the sword and caught the chain weapon in her hands. Instead of trying to pull it away from Thekmore, she used it like a rope to climb up his arm. Before he could react, she was on his shoulders. Her hands found the base of his skull where it connected to his spine. She pressed hard with her thumbs, and Thekmore's legs buckled. He tried to reach back and grab her, but his arms would not obey him properly anymore. 13 seconds. Maya jumped down from Thekmore's shoulders as he fell forward. She landed in a perfect crouch behind him as his massive body hit the sand face first with a sound like thunder. 14 seconds after dropping her rifle, Maya stood alone in the center of the arena while the former champion lay motionless at her feet. The silence was complete. 50,000 aliens sat in their seats without making a sound. They stared down at the impossible scene below them, trying to understand what they had just witnessed. Maya calmly walked over to where she had dropped her plasma rifle. She picked it up and made a small adjustment to a control on its side. The dual weapons energy display came back to life, showing that it was fully charged and ready to fire. The rifle had never been broken. Maya had simply turned it off. She raised the weapon and pointed it not at the defeated Thekmore, but up at the viewing box where Commander Vexthul sat frozen in shock. The Catherian commander's yellow eyes were wide with disbelief. "Attention, all Catherian forces," Maya said clearly into her suit's communication system. "This is Lieutenant Maya Rodriguez of the Earth Defense Corps. I have successfully infiltrated your command structure and am prepared to relay strategic intelligence to any Earth forces in range." Her voice carried clearly in the silent arena. Every alien who heard her felt something cold move through their bodies. This human had not been fighting for her life. She had been putting on a show while she gathered information about their military capabilities. Maya kept her weapon trained on the viewing box as she continued speaking. For the record, the human species does not require advanced weapons to be effective in combat. Our weapons are tools that make us more efficient, but efficiency was not my goal today. Some aliens in the crowd were starting to understand. The human had deliberately made herself look weak and helpless. She had studied her opponent while pretending to be afraid. She had turned off her own weapon to convince everyone that she was defenseless. Today my goal was to send a message, Maya continued. That message is simple. Do not underestimate humanity. We are not the weak, primitive species you believe us to be. We are problem solvers, strategists, and survivors. And when you threaten us, we adapt. Catherian security forces were rushing onto the arena floor now, but they moved carefully. None of them wanted to be the first to test their weapons against the human who had just defeated their greatest champion without breaking a sweat. Maya smiled again, and this time, every alien who saw it felt afraid. Oh, and one more thing, she said. You might want to look up. Above the arena, the first human rescue ships were appearing in the sky. They had followed Maya's signal through space, and now they had arrived to collect their missing officer. Commander Vexthul finally found his voice. Impossible, he whispered. Humans are weak. Our intelligence report said they depend on their weapons. Maya heard him through the arena's communication system and laughed. It was not a pleasant sound. Your intelligence reports were wrong. The human rescue ships descended toward the arena like metal angels. Their hulls gleamed in the sunlight, and their weapons were already powering up for combat. Maya had been missing for 6 days, and the Earth Defense Corps had finally found. Maya kept her plasma rifle aimed at Commander Vexthul while she watched the ships approach. The Catherian commander sat in his viewing box like a statue, his scaled face showing no emotion. But Maya could see the fear in his yellow eyes. Around the arena, chaos was starting to spread. Some aliens in the crowd were trying to leave, pushing and shoving to get to the exits. Others sat frozen in their seats, too shocked to move. The Catherian security forces had stopped advancing toward Maya when they saw the ships overhead. Commander Vexthul, Maya called out, her voice carrying clearly through the arena's sound system. I believe you wanted to see what humans are capable of in combat. Are you satisfied with the demonstration? Vexthul finally stood up in his viewing box. His translator device crackled as he spoke. This changes nothing, human. You are still one warrior against an entire empire. Your ships cannot save you from here. Maya tilted her head slightly as if considering his words. You're right about one thing. I am just one warrior. But you made a critical error in your thinking. What error? Vexthul demanded. You assumed that one human warrior was insignificant, Maya replied. But humans don't fight as individuals. We fight as a species. And when you captured me, you didn't just take one prisoner. You declared war on all of humanity. The first human ship landed just outside the arena walls. Its cargo bay opened, and armored Marines poured out. They moved with the same fluid precision that Maya had shown in her fight, spreading out to secure the area with military efficiency. Maya could hear their commanding officer's voice through her communication system. Lieutenant Rodriguez, this is Colonel Jake Murphy. We are here to extract you. What is your status? Alive and well, Colonel, Maya responded. I have gathered extensive intelligence on Catherian military capabilities and am ready for extraction. But first, I believe Commander Vexthul and I need to finish our conversation. More human ships were landing now. Maya could see that they had brought enough forces to level the entire arena if necessary. But that was not why they were here. Commander, Maya continued, you told me that humans are weak because we depend on our weapons. You said our flesh tears easily. You called us primitive. Would you like to revise those assessments? Vexthul's scales were darker now, which Maya guessed meant he was angry or afraid. You used deception. You pretended to be helpless to trick us. Yes, I did, Maya agreed. Deception is a tactic. Strategy is thinking several moves ahead of your opponent. Adaptation is changing your approach when the situation demands it. These are all things that humans excel at. They are also things that your intelligence reports apparently failed to mention. Around the arena, Maya could see other Catherian officers talking urgently into communication devices. They were probably trying to figure out how to deal with the human ships that had suddenly appeared in their capital city's airspace. "Your empire has been watching humanity from a distance," Maya said. "You have seen our ships and our weapons, and you decided we were not a threat. But you never bothered to study what makes us dangerous." "And what is that?" Vexthul asked. Maya smiled. "We think, not just individually, but as a group. Every human who dies teaches the rest of us something new about our enemies. Every battle we lose makes us stronger in the next one. Every mistake we make gets shared across our entire military network so that no other human makes the same mistake." She gestured toward the defeated Thekmor, who was slowly regaining consciousness on the arena floor. "Your champion was strong and fast and well-armed, but he fought the same way in every match because that way had always worked before. He never adapted because he never needed to." "Humans adapt," Maya continued. "We look at problems from angles you would never think of. We find weaknesses you didn't know existed. And we never ever give up." Colonel Murphy's voice came through her communicator again. "Rodriguez, we have secured the perimeter. Are you ready for extraction?" "Almost, sir," Maya replied. "I just need to finish making a point." She looked directly at Commander Vexthul. "Your empire made a mistake when you captured me. Not because I'm some kind of super soldier, but because you gave humanity a chance to learn about you. Now we know how you think, how you fight, and how you can be beaten." Maya picked up Thekmor's fallen energy sword and examined it. The weapon was beautifully made and incredibly deadly, but it was also predictable. It only worked one way. "This is a good weapon," she said. "But it's not flexible. It can't be modified or adapted for new situations. It's like your entire military strategy. Overwhelming force applied in the same way every time." She set the alien weapon back down in the sand. "Human weapons are different. We design them to be changed and improved. Just like we change and improve our tactics. Just like we changed and improved our understanding of your empire over the past 6 days." More human ships were arriving now. Maya could see dropships, fighters, and even a heavy cruiser moving into position above the city. The Catherian military was scrambling to respond, but they had been caught completely off guard. "This was never about me escaping," Maya said to Vexthul. "This was about sending a message to every species in the galaxy. That message is simple. Humanity has arrived, and we are not what you expected." Colonel Murphy appeared at the arena entrance with a squad of Marines. "Rodriguez, time to go." Maya nodded and started walking toward her rescue team, but she kept her rifle ready and her eyes on the Catherian forces surrounding the arena. "Commander Vexthul," she called back as she walked, "I want to thank you for this experience. The intelligence I gathered here will help humanity prepare for future encounters with your empire and your allies." "This is not over, human," Vexthul snarled. "The Catherian Empire will not forget this insult." Maya paused at the arena exit and looked back at him one last time. "No, Commander, this is not over. But when it does end, I think you'll find that humanity remembers things much better than your empire does. We remember every slight, every threat, and every act of aggression, and we prepare accordingly." She smiled her dangerous smile once more. "See you around the galaxy, Commander." Maya walked out of the arena with her head held high. Behind her, 50,000 aliens sat in stunned silence, trying to process what they had just witnessed. Above them, human ships filled the sky like a promise and a warning. The arena might be empty now, but the galaxy would remember what happened here. The day a human dropped her weapon, and 14 seconds later, everything changed. Humanity had introduced itself to the galactic community, and they had done it in a way that no one would ever forget.